Hello. Hi, I'm Dr. Anna Saylor with Van Every Family Chiropractic Center, and today we're going to talk about text neck. So give it a minute. Whoops. Okay. So once again, I am Dr. Saylor. I practice in Royal Oak, Michigan, and the clinic's name is Van Every Family Chiropractic Center. And we're talking about text neck today. And it seems like that's a buzzword, and a lot of people are hearing more and more about it. Text neck obviously means that you're looking down, right? So it seems like a really easy, kind of almost a cute name for something that's actually a really serious problem. Technology is not going away, and we know that. Texting is not going away. Cell phones are not going away. So we want to talk about today ways to combat things like text neck and how we can help your overall posture, your overall health. Because you might think it's just adding into the neck alone, but it's actually causing a lot of other health issues that a lot of people are not aware of. So, okay, let's dive in. What is text neck? Text neck is a term for a chronic looking down, putting a strain in your neck and shoulders. So we want to things like, and it's not just texting, it's laptops, it's computers, it's chronically looking down. The kids are studying a lot, so we're in this head forward position. The medical term for it is anterior head forward carriage. It's just easier to say text neck. So what is normal? Normal for the average person, you want to be able to, your ear, your shoulder, your hip, and your knee should be as close to aligned as possible. So the center of your ear, the easiest way to do, center of your ear, the tip, the middle part of your shoulder should be as close to aligned. You don't want to be forward, you don't want to be back. Most people are not back, most people are a little bit forward. But you want to know when you stand in a really nice, easy posture, ear and shoulder should be aligned. So after you get off this webinar, look at yourself in the mirror, look at your children, your teens especially. Teenagers are by far, they have the worst posture, and it's not getting any better. So their posture, if you look at them and if their ear and shoulder are not aligned, there's some things that we're going to talk about today that'll make a huge difference, because that is the number one thing. We want to make sure that we're actually having the pressure off the spine. Okay, so that being said, one of the things that you don't think about is the long-term damage that pressure on your nervous system and the pressure that you're doing with text neck is causing. So let's talk about a few things about the long-term damage. You should have a curve in your neck. You should have a nice C curve. It almost should be like the shape of a banana. So it's not a huge curve, but a nice gentle curve. So here's my handy dandy spine. This one has a curve. It's a little straight, but if I pull them up, you should have a nice curve in the neck. You have normal curves that should be in your spine. So a C curve in the neck, a nice curve in the middle of the back, a nice lumbar curve in your low back. So why do we have curves? Think of it as a pogo stick. So the curves in the pogo stick, the curves are what give the body absorption. The curves in the pogo stick are what allow you to bounce on a pogo stick. I don't know if you guys are old enough or too old or too young to actually know what a pogo stick is. I know what it is. But if you think about that, the curve in the pogo stick is what gives it a bounce. If you tried to take a broomstick and bounce on a broomstick, there's no curves. It's straight. You're just going to fall over. So the same thing happens with your body. The curves, the natural curves in your spine are what give it absorption. So every time you walk, you don't think about it, but, and this guy doesn't do it as well, but it is absorbing the shock that your body and gravity is playing on your body. So you want the curves in your neck and the rest of your body. A lot of people ask me about scoliosis. Scoliosis is a lateral curvature. So it's not this curve, it's a lateral curve. Okay, so what happens when you have head forward posture or you have text neck? The curve is released out of the spine. So if you think about this, now we have a straight part of the neck. Every time you walk, you're basically jamming your joints. So you have a lot of different, you have a facet joint, you have different shock absorbers in your body. And as you walk, if you have no curve, it's actually going to jam them. So, okay, why is that a big deal? This generation, I have been a practicing chiropractor for 20 years. What I used to see in people in their 50s and 60s, which is, we know the word arthritis. I used to see it when we're older because our body has some natural tendencies to not heal as well. I'm actually seeing in the younger and younger generations. This generation today, the young people, the teenagers today, are going to have the worst arthritis in the history of the world because they are basically abusing their bodies, but they're doing things like technology that are really affecting their spine. So let me kind of explain that. So this is a vertebrae. This is your disc. Easy way to think about a disc is think of it as like a jelly donut. Jelly donut gives it cushion, it gives it bounce, it gives it movement, it allows fluid to go in between. These are little, they say IVFs, and this is your nerve. There's little holes where your nerves come out. So you want that to be as flexible. You want it to move as much as possible. You want it to be open. So when you start losing curves and your body starts to rub and wear down, this is what can happen. So this is a disc that has no movement, a disc that has no fluid, a really dehydrated disc. So a lot of people know like, oh, I had a herniated disc or I had disc degeneration. But what happens is as your body starts to stabilize itself. So if you go to fall down, what's the first thing you do? You put your arms out. You try to stabilize. That's actually what happens with your body. As you start losing disc height, your bones start laying down more bone to stabilize your body. It's almost like you're putting your arms out to stabilize. So if you can see, here's my little guys here. See how it's starting to get crunchy and not so, doesn't look good, right? But this is arthritis. This is actually what happens with arthritis. So healthy, oh, going the wrong way, healthy, not so healthy. All right. Okay, so let's also talk about the average size of your head. So the average person's adult head weighs about 10 to 12 pounds. So we always talk about it as the size of an average bowling ball. So I have my bowling ball here. All right. So imagine this is your head. So if I were to give you this bowling ball and say, carry this bowling ball around all day long, which you do because your head stays on your shoulders, you'd be like, I can do that, right? You'd hold it close to your body and you'd carry it around. So what if I said, no, carry it out 1 inch forward. No, carry it out 2 inch forward. Okay, already, just by bringing this out, my muscles are already starting to strain. So I already can feel it in my arms. What if I had to carry it around for all day, 10, 12 hours in a forward head posture? So think about that. For every 1 inch forward your head is, so if your ear and shoulder are not aligned, every 1 inch adds about 10 pounds of pressure. So we're seeing people come in the office with 50, 60, 70 pounds of pressure on their neck and shoulders. So if your head is tired at the end of the day and your shoulders are tired and you just want to go to bed and you just want to lay down, your muscles are straining. Your muscles are carrying a really heavy head, even though I am not changing the weight of this bowling ball, but I'm changing how this bowling ball feels. I'm changing how it feels heavier. So if anybody has a bowling ball laying around, do this because it actually feels heavier. And it gets to the point where you're like, can I just put the bowling ball down? And that's what most people are doing at the end of the day. You have the weight of the world on your shoulders. Your muscles are tired. They're fatigued. They feel heavy. And you just start wanting to do this because it just feels better when this should feel better. Okay, so talking about your bowling ball. So the other thing that we want to talk about is, that's going to cause a strain in the neck. It's going to cause pressure on the nerves. It's going to cause strain in your body joints. It's going to also lead to things like a lot of times we hear headaches and migraines and carpal tunnel. 90% of the carpal tunnel that comes into our office is not actually carpal tunnel. So if you say, oh, I have carpal tunnel, and you point to anywhere else besides right here or right here, that is not carpal tunnel. That is something that's actually the neck muscles and the nerves that are coming from the neck, going down the shoulder, going down the arm, are affected at some point starting in the neck. So carpal tunnel is just here. This is your carpal tunnel. If you have it anywhere else, that is an issue that has doing with your neck. Okay, so back to this. Let's break it down. So the easy way to think about abnormal joints and how it wears down. Think about the tires of your car. If your tires are misaligned, if one tire is misaligned, what's going to happen to your tire? Is it going to wear down evenly? So everybody knows if my car is misaligned, I know that the tire is going to wear down on a certain pattern. It's going to wear on the outside or it's going to wear on the inside. It's going to wear down somehow. And that's actually what is going on with your body. When your joints are misaligned, so nice normal movement, it should move like this. There should be no wearing down. If you are with what we call text neck or forward head posture and you start rubbing and rubbing and rubbing, that's why poor posture is leading to early arthritis. It's wearing down abnormally. So we want it to be in a really good position so it doesn't rub. We don't want it to be in a poor position so it rubs over and over and over again. All right. So the other big thing, and this has to really, this is really much more about teenagers. So if you have poor posture, your child has poor posture, and you look like this, does this make me feel good? So it's not just a physical, it's an emotional component of how I feel. So just slant your shoulders forward, everybody. This doesn't feel good versus this. This feels good. This makes me upright. This makes me see the world differently. This, depression, anxiety, I don't feel good. I don't want people to look at me. Versus this is like, bring it on. So we're seeing kids and teenagers that have really poor posture lead to other things like depression, lead to other things like anxiety. It's an emotional response and it's a protection mode too. But the more you go forward, the more you start inward. Now we have kids that are depressed. So there's a really good study that his name is Eric Pepper, was talking about how poor posture leads to depression. And I see it in the practice all the time. The kids that are coming in and they're happy and they're in a really good posture and they're seeing the world differently versus the kids that are coming in like this. And there's a lot we can do, and we want to really work on that. But this is how it should feel. Okay, so why is this happening? Technology has been the greatest invention in the world. It's been awesome. But the things that I haven't had to deal with when I first started practice versus what I have to deal with now, it is probably the worst invention for your body. So greatest invention for all the stuff that it does, but it's the worst invention for your body. And this right here is the number one bad thing. So cell phones. The use of cell phones is skyrocketed. So the study I did research in 2015, we had 1.8 billion cell phones were sold in 2015. So I have to imagine that it's way more than it is. There was a study by the Kaiser Family Foundation. I want to read this. Young people between the ages of 8 and 18 spent 7 hours and 38 minutes a day on electronics. Let me repeat that. 7 hours and 38 minutes a day on electronics. That's 53 hours on the average a week. And I mean, a lot of us are guilty of it too. I use my cell phone for everything. I use it for work. I use it for fun. I use it for Facebook. I use it for a lot of things. So, but our young people are in this chronic head forward stuff, which is adding to a lot of other things. There's more text messages sent than even phone calls right now. It's so much easier to text. And I'll admit it, I text. It's just easier than picking up the phone and calling. So we need ways to combat the text neck. So that's what I'm going to get into now. Okay, so a couple ways to combat it. So obviously, spending less time on it seems really easy, right? But just putting your phone down. If you're on your phone every 15 minutes, putting it down for a couple. If you're not at the computer, getting up. I tell my patients all the time, if you're on the computer for 8 hours a day, set a timer for every hour and just get up and walk around. Takes the strain off the body, relaxes your eyes, just lets everything kind of calm down. There's wonderful things like pop sockets. So I have one of mine. And this is really, by far, I love pop sockets. It's been one of the best things because you can hold your phone up. You don't want to hold, this is where most people are. Resting on their lap, phone down, head down. By holding it up, resting your back against a chair and bringing your head up, looking with your eyes only, you're going to really relieve the stress off your joints. So that's one of the things we teach the kids in our practice is just look up versus down. Okay, so looking up with a pop socket would be great. Being mindful of your posture. So if you're sitting at the computer, like I am right now, you want all the joints of your body to be as close to neutral or 90. So neutral means monitor should be as straight as possible in front of your eyes. It should be at eye level as much as possible. Your head and your shoulders should be in a neutral position. The joint, your wrist and arm should be in a neutral position. And then every other joint in your body, your elbow, your hip, your knees, and your ankles should be at 90 degrees. And what that means is this, I'm sitting in a chair that's a little too tall for me. So I'm actually kind of up on my tiptoes a little bit. So looking at the posture of your desk, the posture of your chair. So a really good chair is going to make a difference. Hands should be neutral. Arms should be at 90, elbows at 90, hips at 90, knees at 90, and ankles at 90. So if you're sitting in front of your computer right now, like a lot of you are, just sit in that position. And I always say, like, close your eyes, relax in that position for about a minute, and then open your eyes. See what position you're naturally getting into. So you might need a new desk. You might need to raise your monitor up. You might need a new chair. You might need I'm short. You might need a stool for your feet. So looking at those kind of things that make a huge difference in your overall posture. Because when you are sitting at a computer for 8 hours a day, posture matters. Little things matter. Using a cervical roll is going to really help because you want to think about this curve in your neck should be a nice gentle curve. So a cervical roll, easy way to do it, get a dish towel, wrap it with a rubber band in the middle and 2 rubber bands on the end. You can duct tape it if you want because you want it to be firm. So you want to roll it and make it firm. And then you're just going to lay it at the base, especially when you're laying in bed or laying on the floor for a couple minutes. It only takes about 5 minutes a day. Something that you do every day for 5 minutes, consistency with something like this wins the race. All you're going to do is put the neck roll under your neck and just lay there. Let the curve get into a nice natural position. A really good pillow. Pillows are the number one thing we keep way too long. So a pillow lasts for about a year. If your pillow is older than a year, you need a new pillow. And you want a pillow that's going to support your neck because when you sleep is when you heal. So if you're not supporting your neck, if you're a side sleeper, your nose, your sternum, and your belly button. So nose, sternum, and belly button should be as completely aligned as possible. So if you get in your side and you do this, my nose, my sternum, and belly button are not aligned. So I need a pillow that's going to give me enough support to keep my nose balanced with my sternum. So same thing, lay on your side, close your eyes, relax for a minute, open your eyes and see what position you're naturally getting in. So you don't want a pillow that's too small and you don't want a pillow that's too big. So a lot of people either use no pillow or 2 pillows. So looking at your pillow and making sure if you're on your back, you shouldn't feel like you're flexing up or back. You should feel in a very neutral position. And if you're a stomach sleeper, no. Stomach sleeping is by far the worst thing you can do for your posture, for your spine. Because when you sleep on your stomach, you have to tilt your head to one side or the other to breathe. You have to. It's just, if you could sleep on one of my adjusting tables with there's a face that you can rest, that would be awesome. But no one has an adjusting table at home. I don't think I do, but no one else does. But I don't sleep on it. So sleeping on your stomach puts a curve. So just think about it. It's going to put a curve in my neck repetitively over time. So 6, 7, 8 hours, I got this curve that's putting a stress on our joints. So sleeping, I know it's the worst habit. It's the hardest habit to break other than like smoking, but it's one of the worst things you can do. So if you have children, really start teaching them now, because a lot of times I hear people like, I've done it since I've been a kid. I've done it for years, and it's really a hard habit to break. So sleeping is really important. Exercise. So it doesn't seem like a lot that your neck muscles are small. People think, well, should I exercise them? Well, I actually want you to relax them. I want you to strengthen them, and I want you to make sure that they're stretched. So the best time to stretch after you take a shower. So your muscles are loose, everything's warmed up. If you do something like this, stretch every single day, like I said, consistency is the name of the game in these little exercises. Every time you take a shower, think, I'm going to do my neck stretches. You want to take your neck through all the ranges of motion. So most people are like, oh yeah, okay, tilt to the side. So if you tilt to the side, bring your opposite arm, shoulder, let your shoulder drop. You can feel the stretch through both sides. Do both sides, nice and easy. and you just want to hold it for about 5-10 seconds. You want to basically, both sides, rotate to both sides, nice and easy. You want to go up and down. But the most important one to combat text neck is, imagine that I'm going to poke you in the nose. So you want to stabilize your shoulders, and you want to make sure, if I'm going to poke you in the nose, the very first thing you're going to do is you're going to go back. And you don't want to tilt up, you don't want to tilt down, you want to go back. You want to give yourself almost like a double chin. Go back, hold for 5 seconds, and relax it. Go back, hold for 5 seconds, and relax it. The difference is this stretches this. This one stretches back here. It is really the only stretch that can make a huge difference in the consistency and the curve of your neck. That is really the most important thing, most important stretch to help with text neck. So every single day, I'll tell you, put a Post-it note in your shower, put a Post-it note in your bathroom mirror, because if you do that, it really literally takes 1 minute a day to go through all those. And if you do it after a shower, so you're already loose and warm, the results are going to be amazing, just for a 1 minute stretch. Okay. And then last but not least, I'm a chiropractor. Why am I talking about this? Get adjusted. If your body's not in the right position, that's what chiropractors do. That's what we do. So we want to make sure that there's movement in your joints. We want to make sure that your facet joints are open. We want to make sure that everything, that this doesn't happen. So our job is to keep you like this. Our job, each vertebrae can move in 6 different ways. If you think of the 6 ways you can move your neck: forward, back, side, around. Each vertebrae does those same little micro movements. So they're going to be able to move, and they usually move in a coupled motion. So they don't just move to the side, they usually move to the side with a little rotation. So we want to keep those moving and flexible. We want to make sure that each joint in your body is moving, and we want to make sure, because we want to keep the fluid in the discs as healthy and hydrated as possible. Up until about the age of 18, we have an innervation that goes to the disc, which means that we have a food supply and a hydration supply that goes to the disc. And after that, it starts to die off. The only way to get fluid into your disc space is movement, which is why they say exercise is such a key when you get older, because every time you move, it opens the joint space up, allows fluid to get into the disc, and keeps it hydrated. Hydration. Dehydration, number one thing that's going to, if I have someone that comes in with a disc injury, dehydration is the number one thing that I see. So hydrating your body, but also hydrating your spine, and that's movement. So chiropractically, we can make a huge difference in the movement of your spine, in the curve of your spine, and your posture. Most people don't think about posture in chiropractic, but the way we adjust, we actually work on the rib cage, we work on the shoulder blades, we work on the muscles. We want to make sure that this is open. We want to make sure that the curve is in a really good position. We want to make sure the neck is in a really good position. So chiropractic for us is like the key. We have an amazing posture app that we use in our practice that really gives you and us a really good idea of what's going on. It actually measures where your head, shoulder, hip, knees are in relationship to your body. That's when I said, a lot of patients are coming in with 50, 60, 70 pounds of pressure. It would give us the exact measurement of how much pressure you're putting on your neck spine, your neck joints, and the rest of your spine. It's amazing. So if you haven't had that, if you're a patient of ours and you haven't had a posture analysis in a while, just talk to me, because it's just a really quick picture that it does everything. It's amazing. Okay, so if you have a chiropractor that you love, call them now. Get on their schedule, get adjusted, do all the things that you need to do, taking these tips here to keep you in the right position and your children in the right position, especially teenagers. Teenagers, they're my dream, because they don't take care of themselves like they should. But if you don't have a chiropractor you love, we would love to be your family chiropractor. So please, we specialize in working with families. There's no cracking or popping. It's a really gentle adjusting. So call our office and tell them that you want to have your posture analyzed. Is that a word? I don't know. Analysis. I don't even know what I'm talking about. So that being said, I hope you take these tips. Remember, posture is everything. It's how you feel. It's how you function. It affects your nervous system. It affects your neck. It causes headaches if it's not in the right position. So there's a lot you can do. And just taking these little daily tips and getting adjusted on top of it, and a massage would be lovely, will make a huge difference in combating the issues that we're seeing. So text neck starts today, but there's a lot we can do to prevent it from causing serious injuries down the road. So once again, I hope you have a fabulous day. I will see you guys later. Have a great day, everybody. Bye.